Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have some more UFO stories. Well, one story detailing a possible alien scene over Martian skies, and another detailing, well, maybe it's possible that life might be out there somewhere on some other planet. Either way, folks, both stories are interesting, and we're going to have some fun. So let's read this first one. Mysterious cigar-shaped object spotted in Martian skies. In 2014, NASA's Curiosity rover captured a series of images showing an unexplained aerial anomaly in the Martian atmosphere, a cigar-shaped object with a consistent width and rounded ends. The images have resurfaced in renewed discussions among researchers. What makes this sign particularly striking is the clarity of the image. According to the researcher Jane Ward, the stars in the background remain sharp and unblurred, ruling out motion blur or long exposure artifacts as potential causes. The object appears in 5 separate frames over an 8-minute span, suggesting it was moving relatively slowly, behavior inconsistent with a meteorite entering the atmosphere. So indeed, a very strange object that has been photographed, folks. And this time, it wasn't over Earth or anywhere near it. It was over Mars, folks. So does that mean that this is, it probably wasn't photo trickery? Or do you somehow think that this was indeed somehow a forgery? Maybe done by NASA? If you didn't notice, I'm trying to be a bit sarcastic, but either way, here are the photos. And as you can see, the cigar-shaped object is very weird, isn't it, folks? Either way, let's read on. Additionally, the absence of a fiery trail typically seen during atmospheric entry complicates the identification of the object. That was the heading under those pictures, folks, and indeed, it makes a good point. It did not have a fiery tail, so what was it? We can theorize about that after we finish off this story. Rather than resembling a natural space rock, the anomaly bears a striking similarity to an elongated, solid craft of unknown origin. When oriented horizontally, the object appears to feature a front-facing structure, possibly a porthole or raised dome, leading to speculation about a cockpit or command module. Whether it was orbiting beyond the Martian horizon or connected to the surface in the distance, its dimensions suggest something far larger than typical space debris. While NASA has not officially commented on the specific anomaly, the images add to a growing catalog of unexplained phenomena observed on Mars. Indeed, folks, people have seen things on Mars and over the skies now, folks, that basically people, are continuously talking about. People have basically taken photos of what look like debris, even animals on the Martian surface, and people wonder exactly what they really are. Either way, finishing off this particular story, folks, could this be evidence of a non-human technology operating in Mars's skies, or might it point to undisclosed human activity in space? We don't know, folks. It could very well be. All we can do is speculate on what exactly these things that people see are. This time, though, it was NASA who took these photos, and indeed, this object does appear like it is really a UFO, but this time, not a saucer-shaped one, but a cigar-shaped one, which has been basically noted as one of the more, numerous cited shapes that UFOs can come in. Either way, folks, very interesting, but let's move on to the next article. Forget Earth-like planets, the new rules in the hunt for extraterrestrial life. Now, this is an interesting article, folks. It details that life might exist out in space, if you basically don't believe in it already, folks, and that life might evolve, in ways that some mainstream scientists agree on. Basically, they evolve in harsh climates and environments that most people don't think that life could possibly, exist in. This is what this article, details, folks. So let's continue. Scientists are revolutionizing the search for extraterrestrial life by challenging our somewhat Earth-centric assumptions about where and how life might exist in the universe. A new review argues that we must embrace the remarkable diversity of exoplanets discovered over the past 2 decades and consider a much broader range of environments that could potentially host life, reports UniverseToday.com. With the James Webb Space Telescope now operational and capable of analyzing exoplanet atmospheres, researchers led by MIT's Shara Segar are pushing for a more inclusive approach to identifying biosignatures, gases, chemical signs of life on distant worlds. Indeed, folks, they think that by doing this, they can understand where life might be. So, let's continue. The traditional focus on finding Earth twins orbiting sun-like stars may be too narrow given the scarcity of such planets and the incredible variety of planetary environments that exist. Indeed, folks, they're saying that basically life might come in more forms than what we basically normally expect. Have you ever heard of the theory, or basically it's not a theory, but extremophiles? There are life forms that can exist in environments that, well, most ordinary life on Earth just can't. For example, scientists have found life in volcanic geysers like Old Faithful in Yellowstone, folks, where basically most people didn't think life could exist, yet they found life forms like bacteria existing there. So that's the idea behind this particular theory, folks, and how we ourselves need to broaden our definition of life. Therefore, we can basically locate it out in space because it might be in places we just didn't think about before. Either way, let's continue with this article. The research highlights how adaptable life on Earth really is. Bacteria can survive and thrive in atmospheres rich in gases like hydrogen, helium, carbon dioxide, and carbon monoxide, conditions once thought hostile to life. These extremophiles, organisms that flourish in physically or chemically extreme conditions, demonstrate that life's requirements may be far more flexible than previously assumed. Perhaps most intriguingly, the team explores scenarios where life might exist without any solid ground beneath it. In so-called cloud biospheres, life could potentially float in the atmospheres of planets where rocky surfaces are too hot to support traditional life forms. These aerial ecosystems may exist in the thick atmospheres of super-Earths in the cloud layers of gas giants. Indeed, folks, they're what I know as atmospheric beasts, life forms that have basically adapted to live in upper atmospheres or in gaseous, cloudy bodies. Some people even think that they might exist in our own atmosphere, folks. That they're sort of like sea life or bacterial life that exist up in the atmosphere. And maybe they exist even in outer space as well, folks. Either way, it's a theory that some people have. Either way, very intriguing. But let's move on and then we can theorize a bit more. This new perspective has practical implications for telescopic observations. Instead of focusing solely on oxygen and ozone biosignatures, scientists are developing comprehensive lists of potential life-indicating gases based on the vast array of metabolic byproducts that microbes on Earth produce. This all-small molecule approach considers any gas that life might produce through metabolism, regardless of whether we see it here on Earth. The shift represents a fundamental change in astrobiology from asking, is this planet like Earth, to could this planet support any form of life we can imagine, with thousands of known exoplanets showcasing remarkable diversity in mass, size, and orbits. This broader approach significantly expands our chance of detecting life beyond Earth. Indeed, folks, I have to agree with this article and the people who theorize about this. When I learned about, well, extremophiles, folks, I knew there's probably life out there in space, because if there's life that could thrive in something like a volcanic vent, then probably there's life out there somewhere, folks, and it probably exists in ways we can only imagine. We'll talk about this a little more after I finish off this article. As we stand on the brink of potentially discovering biosignatures in alien atmospheres, embracing this diversity may be the key to finally finding life in forms we never expected in places we never thought to look. As I said, folks, I agree with that. There could be life in space, folks, and now we can theorize about that. What could this life possibly be? Could it actually exist in the atmosphere? Yes. Now, people have also said that atmospheric beasts, life forms that can exist in gas bodies, might even be able to exist out in space, folks. Now, some scientists dispute that fact, but, well, some people have theorized that maybe bacteria itself could exist out in space. There's also the theory of basically panspermia, where basically life came here from outer space on a meteor. But maybe life could actually exist in a bacterial form out in space in some manner, because maybe it's, well, evolved that way. And eventually it evolves into something like, say, an atmospheric beast, something we would see as basically sea life, because that's what some people have said what atmospheric beasts look like. They look like jellyfish or squids, but they're like amorphous blob-like creatures that can literally float on the winds. And as I said, folks, maybe in outer space, but that's just a theory. Either way, folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon. And remember, use the link down below or in the descriptions to go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you.